Well, many thanks for joining us. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Uganda. With me, Olive Monica Najuma, together with Chantal Olive Akandinda, Gerald Paul Sonko and Chirabo Robert Nyenyintono. Now, today is Flashback Thursday and Ruben Pima, our sports, the gentleman that is always giving us sports updates, has been on the mic. Should I say the mic? Or has been on the wheel, on the mixer, giving us those amazing flashback songs. I especially love the one from Milli Vanilli, and it is Girl, I'm Gonna Miss You. That was quite a splendid song. But many more have come your way, and many more will be coming your way later. Now, lots of happenings have occurred in Uganda and outside Uganda. The first one, President Ruto yesterday considered his words, considered and decided not to sign the finance bill that the Gen Zs have been protesting against. And he not only didn't sign, he said, we have decided as government to not even consider the bill. We've heard the voice of the young people and we are ready to speak to them. We are ready to have dialogue. And this is what Gen Zs wanted. And in the letter that was written by the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, he said, talk to the people, do not talk at them. And I think President Ruto listened. Though Kenyans have been saying that after 21 days, because according to their law, if a bill has been passed by Parliament, after 21 days, it can become law even when the president has not signed it. So from the sources I've heard that there will have to be a special parliamentary sitting so that they can see how to move forward. Because as a president, if something has been passed by the parliament, he does not apparently have the right, according to the constitution, to just say we have abandoned the bill. Now that's what is coming in from Kenya, but locally in Uganda, especially in the realm of business, we have been blessed. The trials that have been happening regarding the injectable HIV control medicine have seen success. Now, instead of taking the pre-exposure prophylaxis, the injectable that is taken twice a year can give one complete protection. That is quite a feat in the medical realm. Chirabo is dancing, I don't know why, but good morning.
Well, you people. Good morning, our viewers, and many thanks for being with us this lovely Thursday morning. Well, Ruben did us justice. I only missed Mysterious Girl. By Peter Andre. There you would have seen more strokes than those you've just seen. But yesterday I slept very happy. That's why I chose even to take a cup of Ugandan coffee very early in the morning. When I listened to the Kenyan president using these words, and I want to quote, the people have spoken. We have listened. Oh God. At that moment, I was drawn in emotions. A president saying, I concede.
I concede.
I concede.
For me, that was the best line I had.
Because the people have spoken.
Yes.
Long live Ruto, long live Kenyans. And of course, it is very unfortunate that there were lives that were lost. There are those that are injured. But if a president can listen and say, the people have spoken, I concede. If this is what it takes for the cost of peace, because it could as well as crushing protesters is not something very hard, and they finally would have failed to sustain it. But listening, conceding, and Kenya moving forward. To me as a Ugandan, we already had trucks of goods stuck. We already had buses not being able to come to Uganda. We had already begun feeling the effect. But now I am very sure and confident that if all they wanted was the finance bill, you know, sometimes these riot things are very funny, that they may come for something else, yet they want something else. But if what they fronted is what actually they meant, I'm sure now peace is going to restore in Kenya, and the challenges that we've been seeing as Uganda are going to be no more.
There have been posts on social media because today they had planned to go to to demonstrate to the State House. And there have been posts on social media calling upon the Gen Zs to stand down after the president's speech and not move to the State House. But there hasn't been yet an official announcement from the leaders of the Gen Zs on whether or not they will not carry on with the demonstration.
If they carry on,
but
then if government uses an iron hand, they'll have nowhere to find sympathy, because you fronted this and it's been sorted.
Indeed, and the Vice President also begged them and implored them to stand down and not demonstrate today. Good morning, Jerome Paul.
Well, good morning to you and good morning to our dear viewer. Same applies to Robert Chirabonyonyintono, who is excited this morning.
The insurgents is
Though he's lying, I know why he's excited. When I mentioned the injectable drug,
that's why he was excited.
Came out.
Still in the music, by Ruben.
Yes, Jerome.
And well, of course, going back to what the both of you have been discussing, what is coming in from Kenya, and the fact that the president came out and pretty much agreed to the calls of the many Kenyans, the Gen Zs and the entire Kenyan fraternity, because we've seen protests besides the fact that the Kenyans in Uganda have been joining the cause online. Those in the UK had also hit the Kenyan embassy, that is in London, the other day of the strikes on Tuesday. So you get to realize that they were standing in solidarity, and the Kenyan president, as some of the Ruto faithfuls have been coming out to say, that the Kenyans have a president who listens to them. That is according to those who are behind President William Ruto. And well, everyone was highly expecting to hear what the president has to say. But besides that, when you look at the agenda of the Gen Zs, they were moving and moving with two hashtags. One is reject the finance bill, then the second was Ruto must go. So the question goes back to, will they continue with the last hashtag of Ruto must go, or they are now happy that the president can stay as the leader of Kenya? Because at times you get to realize that one thing may be sorted, but then the others, because there is a bunch of Kenyan Gen Zs who feel maybe the president should just step down. But of course, that is not something that you can easily ask for, more so if at all what you fronted was rejecting the finance bill, which by the president's speech yesterday further revealed that that will no longer take effect. But besides that, there is also an interesting report which I've been able to, to discover here in Uganda, where authorities closed the school in Kayunga simply because pupils were sleeping on the floor. And over the years we've been having issues in the education sector, and even here on the show we've been having conversations rotating around how the education system in Uganda is at times having some challenges, especially the operators. And having a boarding school running, yet you do not have dormitories that even have daycares or beds for the students to sleep, or the pupils, really puts a huge question on the school administration and how the parents even take their children to those schools. But nonetheless, it's a Thursday.
Yeah.
Here we are.
It's easy, by the way. Lately, schools, especially after COVID-19, many schools do not allow the parents into the dormitories to see how their children are sleeping. So probably that's how this school has been getting away with it. But it's a good thing that the authorities went in and they had the school closed. Now, the lady on the team, the other lady on the team, my namesake. Good morning, Chantal.
Good morning, Olive, and how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm all right. You were talking about some of the songs that were played by our producer.
Yes.
For me, the one I liked was Card of the County.
Oh.
Yes. Carries a very good message for a young man out there. Sometimes you'll be caught between a hard and rocky ground or rocky place, just like we saw President Ruto yesterday. But I think it's not yet done. Much as he made a declaration, he's still at the mercy of some of the members of the government, like the speaker, because the government goes to the parliament goes to recess on the 26th of June, and after that, it's going to be returning on the 23rd of July, and the bill takes effect
After 21 days.
Yes, and that would be at around 11th of July. And that means that the only thing that can save him is the Speaker and the person in charge of that bill calling for a special, can I call it special sitting or session?
Yes.
And probably that is now what he has to hold on to be able to deliver his promise. Because if this does not also take effect, those will be two promises that will be broken. One, he promised there would be no tax increases, which led to this protest we have seen, or these protests we have seen. Now, if this other commitment he has made does not take effect, there's going to be trouble in Kenya. But I hope we don't get to that point.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And you did mention that Parliament goes into recess on the 26th, which was yesterday.
Yes.
So
and
today is
returns,
27th.
Returns on the 23rd of July.
That
Yes.
doesn't paint a good picture.
Not at
But
all.
we'll be following these events in Kenya. In his speech, the president did say that they had levied taxes on different sectors and on different goods to protect the local industries. One of the key aspects that Kenyans have been protesting about were taxes on sanitary pads. But the president said we have 10 companies in Kenya that can produce the sanitary pads. Why should we be importing them? He actually did say, why should Kenya become a supermarket for other foreign countries to dump their goods, yet we can produce the goods here, subsidize them so that they are affordable and accessible to Kenyans. Those were some of his words. But we will be following this story and giving you even more details and to see how this entire event affects Uganda at large. But for now, we have news that has been making rounds in Uganda, and we'll take you through that right about now.
And we'll begin with President Yoweri Museveni, who gave a lecture to senior army officers. Now, President Museveni urged army officers to safeguard the country against the politics of identity, which he said not only undermines national unity, but it is also responsible for the failure of national institutions like the army. While delivering a lecture of opportunity to army officers of the Senior Command and Staff College Kimaka at State House Entebbe, General Museveni reiterated the politics of identity has continued to undermine the prosperity of many African countries, and it should be discouraged. He also informed the group of 77 army officers that politics of ethnicity and race had become a big problem in the past, where some leaders like Idi Amin even expelled Asians, which led to the collapse of Uganda's economy. On the issue of security, President Museveni emphasized that many African countries have failed to build strong national institutions like the army because they are infiltrated and divided based on ethnicity. According to Major General George Igumba, the commandant of the Senior Command and Staff College Kimaka, the delegation of 77 officers comprised of 27 members of the faculty and 50 students. The students comprised 13 foreign students, 2 from each East African community state apart from Democratic Republic of Congo and Somalia. The 2 students were from the Republic of South Africa and 1 student from the Republic of Malawi, while 37 were Ugandans. These are scheduled to graduate on Thursday, the 27th, which is today of this very month.
Now, moving on, the members of parliament sitting on the Committee of Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprise, COSASE, have accused the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, of impunity in relation to the management of Kazi camping site. This follows NEMA's response to the committee that the authority has no manpower to deploy and stop the ongoing developments at the site. The developments are purportedly attributed to a businessman, Umar Sekamate, and have been ongoing since COVID-19 lockdown. This video, widely shared on various social media platforms, shows that an ongoing construction of a large storage building, but on a land belonging to Kazi camping site. Since COVID-19 pandemic, it is alleged that a businessman, Umar Sekamate of Delight Company, is behind the activities. The Parliamentary Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprise, chaired by Busiro East Member of Parliament, Medad Segona, grilled NEMA boss Dr. Akankwasa Badirega over the matter. Dr. Akankwasa informed the members of Parliament that despite issuing a suspension a week ago, the authority has never cleared the said developer to carry out the developments on the land. The members of Parliament asked why the construction works are still ongoing despite the said suspension order, but NEMA boss decried challenges of manpower to deploy and stop the developments, which act the members of Parliament. Kosase Committee has asked NEMA to present a comprehensive report, including evidence of suspension order, within a week.
And moving on, the State Minister for Foreign Affairs, John Mulimba, has disclosed avenues to ascertain the damage at the Uganda House commercial building located at Chinyata Avenue in Nairobi, in the heated protest by a section of Kenyans over new proposed tax legislation. The Uganda House commercial building was set ablaze. However, the Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs, Muwada Nkunyingi, criticized and rejected what he described as a premature statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
And in other news, the Public Service Commission, in cooperation with the Kampala Capital City Authority, has participated in community outreach activities to celebrate African Public Service Day. Participants engaged in cleaning up the streets of Kampala by sweeping and emptying full dust bins. The Permanent Secretary at the Public Service Commission, John Geoffrey Mbabazi, rallied his staff to join the initiative and aimed at supporting the lives of citizens. Public Service Commission staff, together with KCCA, have joined the African continent in commemorating African Public Service Day in Kampala. The day was marked by corporate social responsibility activities, including sensitization and sanitation campaigns and community outreach efforts such as cleaning the city. The Permanent Secretary, Public Service Commission, John Geoffrey Mbabazi, emphasized that the exercise provides an opportunity for the Commission to engage with citizens and offer free services from the Commission. However, as the Commission commemorates the African Public Service Day, corruption remains a significant problem in ministries, agencies, and departments. Chimere Daniel, the unit supervisor of Seven Hills Cleaners at KCCA, mentioned that as we celebrate this day, the authority should consider enhancing their salaries and providing protective gears for the cleaners. This year's African Public Service Day is being celebrated under the theme Empowering a Citizen-Centric Public Service for an Inclusive and Thriving 21st Century Africa, a journey of lifelong and technological transformation. The main function will be held today at the ceremonial grounds in Kololo, and President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is expected to grace the occasion. Well, that does it. Now we'll launch into international news with Chantal Olive Akandinda.
Well, we'll start off with Bolivia now. The Bolivian police have arrested the leader for an attempted coup hours after the presidential palace in the capital, La Paz, was stormed by soldiers. Armored vehicles and troops had taken up position on Murillo Square, where the government key buildings are located. They all later withdrew. The rebel military leader in charge, General Juan Jose Zuniga, had said he wanted to restructure democracy and that while he respected President Luis Arce, for now there would be a change of government. He is now under arrest. President Arce condemned the coup attempt, calling on the public to organize and mobilize in favor of democracy. We cannot allow once again coup attempts to take Bolivian lives, he said in a televised message to the country from inside the presidential palace. His words clearly resonated with pro-democracy demonstrators taking to the streets in support of the government. Mr. Arce also announced he was appointing new military commanders, confirming reports that General Zuniga had been dismissed after openly criticizing Bolivia's former leader, Evo Morales. Moving on, as the temperatures rose in southern Pakistan, so did the body count. The EDHI ambulance services said it usually carries around 30 to 40 people to the Karachi city morgue daily, but over the last 6 days it has collected some 568 bodies, 141 of them on Tuesday alone. It is too early to say exactly what the cause of death was in every case. However, the rising numbers of death came as temperatures in Karachi soared above 40 degrees Celsius, with the high humidity making it feel as hot as 49 degrees Celsius, reports said. People have been heading to hospitals seeking help. Civil Hospital Karachi admitted 267 people with heat stroke between Sunday and Wednesday, said Dr. Imran Sarwar Sheikh, head of the emergency department. 12 of them died. Most of the people who we saw coming into the hospital were in their 60s or 70s, although there were some around 45 and even a couple in their 20s, Dr. Sheikh told news agencies. Symptoms included vomiting, diarrhea, and high fever. Now back to Africa. Kenya's President William Ruto says he will withdraw a finance bill containing controversial tax hikes after deadly protests which saw Parliament set ablaze on Tuesday. In an address to the nation, he said it was clear that Kenyans want nothing to do with the bill. I concede, he said, adding that he would not sign the bill into law. At least 22 people were killed on Tuesday protests, according to the state-funded Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Mr. Ruto said he would now enter into dialogue with the young people who were at the forefront of the biggest protest to hit the country since he was elected in 2022. The bill was passed by Parliament on Tuesday despite nationwide demonstrations against it. Protesters broke into Parliament, vandalizing the interior and setting parts of the complex on fire. The ceremonial mess, symbolizing the authority of the legislature, was stolen. Mr. Ruto initially responded with defiance. He ordered the military to be deployed, saying violence and anarchy would not be tolerated. And lastly, matters climate. The Climate Change Advisory Council said urgent measures to increase the sale of electric vehicles in Ireland are needed, and it has called for a comprehensive review of taxation in the transport sector. It said transport in Ireland is not on target to achieve its emissions objectives and calls on the government to disincentivize the use of private cars and internal combustion engine vehicles. A rise in demand for petrol and diesel last year of 7.7% and 1% respectively, combined with a decline in the sale of electric vehicles this year, is seriously concerning, the Climate Change Advisory Council said. It said the transport sector is already way off achieving its binding emission targets, and those trends make it even worse. It is calling for every aspect of taxation that impacts on drivers and the vehicle choices they make to be comprehensively and urgently reviewed by the government. And still speaking matters climate to the ladies, if you're thinking of wearing a round dress today, I highly recommend you do not, because yesterday's winds were something else and it's likely to be the same today. So please, round dresses or round skirts that could fly, I highly don't recommend that you wear them this morning. That is it for international news and climate news this morning.
I feel attacked, Chantal. Definitely attacked. Why didn't you call me? You should have called me before I came to work. Anyway, Jerome Paul, what do you have for us in the dailies?
Well, in the dailies, the New Vision is highlighting building permits, districts probed over corruption, and one of these is the Mitiana physical planner charged over bribe still because of the same. Now, besides that, Kenya riots, trucks have been stuck at the border for quite some hours. Find more details in the New Vision. Then in the bride and groom, all set as the expo kicks off tomorrow. Still, the New Vision is giving you details for that. And in the education perspective, government closes boarding sections over student safety. Then in Kenya, the Kenya chaos, what next after finance bill withdrawal? Also, in regards to the national budget, that is the Uganda national budget for the next financial year, Museveni declines to sign spending bill. Why is that so? Find details in the New Vision. Then residents battle to save Chijabijo wetland. More of that is in the New Vision. Then we look at the Daily Monitor. Hustlers hustle, hustler in chief, says the Daily Monitor. Now, in this one, William Ruto, who ran for president, clothed as hustler in chief yesterday, yielded to demands to discard a law proposing new taxes after unflinching youthful hustlers turned demonstrators cornered his government by invading parliament. Then parliament in Uganda recalled to reconsider the budget for the next financial year. Then 5 dating tips from the Georgian era for those of you who are looking to try out relationships this year. Then also in the Daily Monitor, regional news, Matoke loses test for loss-making farmers. Then regional news, government to develop 4 geothermal plants in Hoima and Bundibujo. More of that is in the Daily Monitor. We head to Kenya. The Daily Nation highlights Ruto's olive branch. The finance bill crisis. President last night wrote to the National Assembly Speaker rejecting the punitive tax bill and in its entirety. Then Gachagua's bombshell. The Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, whose relationship with President William Ruto has been the subject of debate for months now, suggested that the National Intelligence Service Director General Nordin Haji had lost control of the agency and was giving ineffective counsel to the head of state. Now, also, the tiders stand, let's not squander the teachable moment. There is a full page of commentary in regards to the protests in Kenya. Now, also, lastly, from our press reviews, the Citizen newspaper from Tanzania, key reforms as budget gets ringing approval. Also, youth have their way as Ruto declines to sign finance bill, as government working on traders' concerns, says Nchemba. Then also, what rise in household debt to income ratio means for the people in Tanzania. That does it for our press review this morning.
Well, thank you, Jerome Paul. Now, I love the play of words, especially on the Daily Monitor's front page. Hustlers, hustle, hustler in chief. Interesting play on words there. But if you need the details, you just need to go to your nearby supermarket or stall and get the papers so that you can get into the details of what has been shared. Now, we will take a short break and we are going to leave you with a song from the past, since today is Flashback Thursday, and this song is Your Baby Never Looked Good in Blue by Exposure. Well, Mr. Producer Ruben, this morning. Well, enjoy.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.